Okay, today we're going to be making venison shanks. As you can see, we've got a nice bag of shanks here off the probably front and rear legs of a deer. Now, I know most people put this into the grind, but I'm telling you, you're missing some really good eating. There's a lot of connective tissue there that makes for a tender and delicious dish. So, let's get started. We're going to need some flour. I got about 1.5 cups of flour there in a bag. I've got myself almost a cup of better than bouillon beef that I really like using this stuff. It's just a lot handier. I can get as much as I want when I want it. I don't have to worry about what to do with what's left over from a big can of or carton of bouillon. Okay, next you're going to want to chop up carrots, celery, onions in about equal parts. I've probably got a little more carrots there than I do either the celery or the onion, but I wanted to get rid of the carrot. It's not going to hurt anything, I assure you. Anyway, that's maybe a cup or cup and a quarter of each, and about 2 regular size and 1 small size garlic cloves. Okay, now we're going to rinse off the shanks, and then we're going to drop them into the flour and give them a good toss, and then we're going to put them in a hot skillet and just brown them. That's all. So once I get them in the skillet, I'll see you. Okay, we got the first batch of shanks in the skillet here. You don't want to overcrowd your skillet because you want to we're not cooking them here, we're just browning them. So we want to keep our oil hot and give it a lot of competition. Let them go for about a minute and a half, depending on how hot the oil is, both sides. I don't like to mind the smoke just because I don't like to smoke up the house. So. And I do have the vent going. So. Let's see if this one looks like. Yeah, I'll let the rest of it go a bit longer. Okay. We got a first batch brown. So we're going to drop them over into the slow cooker. Let our oil come back up to speed again and drop in the second batch. Okay. We got a second batch brown. We're going to take them off, put them in the slow cooker. All right, now we've got the bottom of the slow cooker is covered with what's going to be some really tender meat here shortly. Well, in about 5 hours. So, we've got this nice brown roux here that I'm going to remove most of the oil. I'm going to leave maybe 2 tablespoons in there, and then we're going to throw in our veggies. Okay, we got our veggies in the skillet. Reduced the temperature down to about medium, and we're going to let those sweat down for, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes, something like that. Then we'll add our broth. Okay, we got our broth in now, our better for bouillon, and we're going to stir it around and get up any kind of little bits of fond that are stuck to the bottom of the skillet. We're going to mix it all together and Oh, and I raised the temperature back up to high, just enough. We're going to just bring this to a boil, and then we'll pour this over into the crock pot. It looks like that's all got some good activity, so I'll be right back. Okay, we've got the veggies in the pot. As you can see, the meat is on top. I poured the veggies and the liquid on top of all of the meat, but then I lifted the meat back up so that for the most part the meat is sitting on top of veggies. And you probably noticed that I haven't done any seasoning yet. I don't like to put seasoning in the flour and then have it burn when I'm browning the meat. So I've got a little bowl right here that's got 2 teaspoons of salt, a teaspoon of black pepper, a teaspoon of onion powder, and a teaspoon of garlic powder. And we're going to sprinkle that over the top of the meat right now. Okay, now then we're going to use our tongs and we're going to mix that all in. And we'll just turn all this meat over, let some of it stay, let some of it get down into the liquid in the bottom of the pan. Alright, there you go. Now then. Okay, that pretty much tears it. That's all there is to it. We've got everything in the pot. We're going to put the lid on. We're going to crank it up on high to start with. Probably leave it on high for a couple of hours and then drop it back down to low, and I'm probably going to let this cook for at least 6 hours, maybe, depends on what time the cocktail hour is over with, maybe 7 hours before we get around to eating this. But over some mashed potatoes, this is a really good way to eat some venison, I'll tell you. And once it's done, we'll show you what it looks like, and we'll show you some on the plate. Okay, well, it's about 7:30, and cocktail hour ran over a little late tonight, so the shanks have been on warm for about the last 45 minutes or an hour. So let's take a look here what we got. Oh yeah. That's what happens when you get the camera lens too close to the steam, but that's what you're looking for right there. Now, let's plate this up. Now, I guarantee you, you make this the way I've shown you, and you're going to sit down to what you believe is one of the best venison meals that you've ever eaten. I'm going to show you a piece of the meat on a separate plate, just so you can see exactly how tender it is before I go and tear into this plate right here. Okay, and check this out for tender. That's what you want right there. And that's what that connective tissue does for you. It sits there and breaks down during that time that it's in that slow cooker. and it takes a otherwise impossible to eat piece of meat unless you grind it up and turns it into the tenderest and most tasty bite of venison that I promise you will put in your mouth. So give it a try. One thing to point out is that when you're taking your shanks off the venison, there is a little needle bone hidden back there in that muscle, and you're going to need to either pay attention to it during the processing so that you're sure that you've gotten it out, or you're going to have to pay attention when you're eating your meal. Either way, it's a small price to pay for such a delicious plate of food. Thanks for watching. I hope you'll use your venison shanks this season for something besides grind up in your sausage or hamburger.